Boring fan sounds, low electrical hums, and distant relay clicks. Sparse glitch percussion filters in crushed hats, clipped blamoponic voice grid, overclock initiated neural limit bypassed. Gradual layering, syncopated bass drops, and rhythmic digital chirps. Bassline sounds to pulse like a heart monitor climbing fast, buzzing synth-ups, flickering 30-second note bursts. Action tightens, slows, hi-hats chattering, metallic snares snapping like short circuits. The sound feels like coils heating, processors pushing past 100%. Main groove hits, rapid neurofunk drums, dirty re-space bends and modulates through the stereo field. Glitch feels like packet loss and stuttered routing. Late synth, a tune growling oscillator cutting through cleanly. Glitchy artifact breaks, reverb tails shaped like exploding chips. Cooling cycle failure. Beat fades, replaced by slow granular textures. Pads feel mechanical, whirring turbine synths in half tempo. Robotic vocoder, voice ring, over registers, demo blend down. Ambient sounds of malfunctioning fans, alarms in the background. Drums return double speed with complex rhythmic layering. Glitch tempos of code, filter sweeps and hard panning. Bassline fractured flickering between registers. Acidic leads bounce across octaves like out of control voltages. Almost ambient, everything slows to a trickle. Sparkling plugs play arpeggios like fragmented data bits. A low warning signal pulses every few bars. Critical overload, reached protocol terminated. Full sonic force returns. Bass grows wider, distortion layered deeply. Snare rolls and glitch fills between every phrase. Synth stabs alternate between clean and corrupted versions. Chaotic, energetic finish, evoking a total system burnup. All elements slowed down into low-pass filtered fragments. Final stutter glitch on the vocal circuit overclaw. Ends in a soft static gale of silence. Fan sounds, low electrical hums, distant relay clicks, sparse glitch percussion filters, chords, switch. Ocean tightens. Main groove hits, rapid neurofunk drums, dirty gritty burst bends and modulates through a stereo field. Glitch and fills like packet loss and stuttered routine leaps. Growling oscillator cutting through cleanly. The artifact breaks, reverb tails shaped like exploding chips. Beat fades fixed by slow granular textures. Pads feel like mechanical, whirring turbine synths in half tempo. Robotic vocoder for cooling cycles. Hail danger, melt down, melt down, melt down. Ambient sounds of malfunctioning fans, alarms in the background. The artifact breaks, reverb tails shaped like exploding chips. Beat fades, replaced by slow granular textures. Pads feel mechanical, whirring turbine synths in half tempo. Radiant cycle, failed danger, meltdown. Ambient sounds of malfunctioning fans, alarms in the background. Drums return double speed with complex rhythmic layering. Glitch that fills with code, filter sweeps and hard panning. Bassline fractured flickering between registers. Acidic leads bounce across octaves like out of control voltages. Almost ambient, everything slows to a trickle. Sparkling blocks play arpeggios like fragmented data bits. The low warning signal pulses every few bars. Critical overload, reach protocol terminated. Full sonic force returns. Slow through to a trickle. Sparkling blocks play arpeggios like fragmented data bits. A low warning signal pulses every few bars. System full overload, reach protocol terminated. Full sonic force returns. Full sonic force returns. Boring fan sounds, low electrical hums, and distant relay clicks. Sparse glitch, percussion filters, and bit crushed hats, clipped clouds. Robotic voice whisper, overclock initiated thermal limit bypass. Gradual layering of syncopated bass throbs and rhythmic digital chirps. Bassline starts to pulse like a heart monitor climbing fast. Buzzing synth arps flickering 30-second note bursts. Russian tightens, closed hi-hats chattering, metallic snares snapping like short circuits. Sound feels like coils heating, processors pushing past 100%. Groove hits, rapid neurofunk drums, right kicks, rattling snares. Dirty bass bends and modulates through stereo field. Glitch fills like packet loss and stuttered routing. Lead synth, the detune growling oscillator cutting through cleanly.
funky artifact breaks reverb tails shaped like exploding chips. Beat fades replaced by slow granular textures. Pads feel mechanical, whirring turbine synths in half tempo. Robotic flow coder for a cooling cycle, fatal danger meltdown. Ambient sounds of malfunctioning fans, alarms in the background. Drums return double speed with complex Rex rhythmic layering. Glitch step fills with comb filter sweeps and hard panning. Basslines fractured, flickering between registers. Aesthetic leads bounce across octaves like out-of-control voltages. Almost ambient, everything slows to a trickle. Sparkling clocks play arpeggios like fragmented data bits. A low warning signal pulses every few bars. Critical overload reach protocol terminated. Pulsonic force returns. Bass grows wider, distortion layer deeply. Snare rolls and glitch fills between every phrase. And stabs alternate between clean and corrupted versions. Critical overload reach protocol terminated. The artifact break. All elements slow down into low pass filtered fragments. Final stutter glitch on the vocal circuit. Over cloud. Ends in the soft static tail and silence. Electric humming and glitch flickers. Distant mechanical echoes like a breaker room about to overload. Slow build of industrial textures, metallic clangs and low robotic static. Synth stabs pulse like a warning siren. Sample voice distorted away untreated. Critical system breach. Overload immense. Explosive bass drum hits with syncopated rhythm funks. Dirty metallic growls and sharp synth glitches hit every beat. Basses layered with bits crushed, bubbling to your doom booster short. Snare kick, triplet sub bass fill. Full part scream layered background. The direct electric reception winds, metal screeches. Even more intense drop. Bassline is now doubled with phaser modulation and stereo delay. Synth lead is chopped and repitched erratically. Rhythm pattern alternates between 4/4 and triplet timing. Electric effects overload the space. Spark static rain circuit pops. All elements come back at once. With melody, the lead glitch bass percussion fills. Offering destruction with starter fills and dropouts. Drum machine effects overload the left bars. Scream echoes and faces static. Basic, no. Robotic voice low pitched and corrupted. Figure of light, how the shuts off. Ending limitations, flatline me. A flicker of light, then power shuts off. Ending with a digital flatline beep. Glitch flickers. Distant mechanical echoes like a breaker room about to overload. Full build of industrial textures, metallic clangs and low robotic static. Synth stabs pulse like a warning siren. stutters overlay synth risers. Main bass growl fades in low and sinister. Filter choppy lead riff begins to tease the drop. Tension effects, electric saps, rewinds, metal screeches. Explosive bass drum hits with syncopated rhythm thumps. Metallic growls and sharp synth glitches hit every beat. Bass is layered with bit-crushed wobble and detuned distortion. Hung-grown heavy snare, kick, triplets, so robotic scream layered as background effects. Every voice distorted and layered, imminent. Rhythm pattern alternates between 4/4 and triplet timing. Overload the space bar, static rain, circuit pops. Collapse. All elements come back at once. Sleek melody glitch, bass percussion fills, full frequency destruction with stutter fills and drum notes. Machine effects overload the last bars. Final robotic scream echoes and fades into static. Bass fades into a dull rumble. Robotic voice low pitched and corrupted. Collapse complete. A light, then power shuts off, ending with a digital flatline beep. Collapse complete. A flicker of light, then power shuts off, ending with the digital flatline beep.
Soft, airy pads with a cold, shimmering texture. Sparse crystalline chimes echo in wide stereo. Slow, glitchy, digital droplets fall like frozen rain. Whisper voice activating, I fear. Orchestron enters gently, muted kicks and soft clicks. Subtle synth plugs with frosty reverb. Deep bass hums begin to rise slowly. Echoing delays create cascading reflections. Melodic fragments shimmer like light on ice. Bass drops with the heavy, subby pulse gets smooth and rounded. Slow tempo beats with spacious gaps, emphasizing echo and delay. Synth layers with slow attack, creating swelling pads. Ice crackles, distant digital echoes, and watery textures. Overall atmosphere feels vast, cold, and immersive. Pads become more ambient, stretched and evolving slowly. Vocal samples reversed and filtered, sounding ethereal. Stars glitch effects mimic frost spreading over glass. A soft melody drifts in, watery and fragile. It returns with a bit more presence but remains laid back. Slight growl as a distortion. Soft layered with delay, create a multi-dimensional effect. Percussion minimal but with textured clicks and snaps. Echo effects stretch into long, shimmering tails. Melodic fragments shimmer like light on ice, the abyss. Bass drops with the heavy, dissolve into soft, airy pads and echoes. Final whisper phrase, clattery effects create a feeling of isolation. Layered delays and echoes build a rich sonic landscape. Final moments feel like drifting deeper into an icy abyss. Elements gradually dissolve into soft, airy pads and echoes. Final whispered phrase. Ends with soft, frozen chimes fading into silence.
Shimmering texture. Sparse glass crystalline chimes echoing in line stereo. droplets fall like frozen rain.
Royal lock,
Ambient wind sounds create an icy atmosphere. Percussion enters gently, muted kicks and soft clicks. Subtle synth plucks with frosty reverb. Deep bass hums begin to rise slowly. Echoing delays create cascading reflections. Melodic fragments shimmering like light on ice. Bass drops with a heavy, sucky pulse yet smooth and rounded. Slow tempo beats with spacious gaps, emphasizing echo and delay. Synth layers with slow attack create swelling paths. Ice crackles, distant digital echoes and watery textures. Overall atmosphere feels fast, cold, and immersive. It's become more ambient, stretched and evolving slowly. Vocal samples reversed and filtered, sounding ethereal. Spells, glitch effects mimic frost spreading over glass. A soft melody drifts in, watery and fragile. Blurs with a bit more presence but remains laid back. Bassline deepens with slight growls of distortion. Six layers delay create a multi-dimensional effect. Percussion minimal but with textured clicks and snaps. Echo effects stretched into long shimmering tails. All percussion drops out leaving ambient synth paths. Rich textures sound like frost cracking slowly. Distant echoes and watery effects create a feeling of isolation. Vocal lock, hold, return the bass and beats with more intensity but still chill. Still chill, with bright harmonics over dark bass foundations. Layers, delays, and echoes build a rich sonic landscape. Final moments feel like drifting deeper into an icy abyss. Elements gradually dissolve into soft airy paths and echoes. Final whispered phrase. Cryolock, disengaged. Ends with soft frozen chimes fading into silence. Streets with crackling static, theoretical clicks and digital distortion slowly build. Full-coded voice glitching phrases, system error, breakdown. Some bass hum creeps underneath. Best of all, syncopated percussion emerges, sharp hi-hats, heavy snares. Rising synth fleets with metallic timbers. Bassline grows in intensity, wobbling with distortion. Bridge effects like sparks fly and the air corruption bursts. Heavy dubstep bass drops early in an aggressive. Please cut through with sharp aggressive modulation. Percussion punches hard, syncopated and crunchy. Fasting mutes, glitch stutters, reversing backs and heavy reverb tails. Overall vibe is chaotic and powerful, like a machine breaking apart. Beat slows, breaks into fragments. Ambient path, stretching distortion and delay. Vocal glitches, repeat phrases. Super system breakdown feel. Track feels like total system failure, but with controlled aggression. Controlled aggression, bedroom noise washes over high-frequency feedback loops. Pop-roast rhythmic hits, filtered and echoed. Robotic voice fragments, data lost, corrupt. Tension builds with filtered sweeps. Full basses and puzzles, soft pace, like growling bass collide. Heavy glitch percussion rolls and fills, envelops, intense energy, sustained sound sequence. Elements filter out the static and soft white noise. Shutdown complete, ends with a slow fade into silence. Shutdown complete, ends with a slow fade into silence. Ominous synchronous with crackling static. Glitchy digital blips mimic corrupted files loading. Robotic whispers echo, data force pre-initiated. Subtle, distant metallic clicks create tension. Tight syncopated percussion enters sharp hi-hats and rattling snares. Bassline begins with a twisted, growling resound. Glitch effects pulse rhythmically, resembling data packet shattering. Rising synth sweeps and filtered noise built anticipation. Aggressive neurophone bass drops with complex modulation. From patterns sharp and intricate, driving the track forward. Synth stabs cut through with jagged precision. Bridge fills and rhythm with distortion. Like fills, synth fills and with reverse sweeps and crackling noise. Bass floods with rhythmic direct distortion. The download compression, holding grip data corrupt, with initiated. Subtle distant metallic clicks create tension. Subtle distant metallic clicks create tension. Subtle distant metallic clicks create tension. Subtle distant metallic clicks and they crush loop. Energy intensifies, simulating the collapse of the digital rift. Tight syncopated percussion enters sharp hi-hats and rattling snares. Bassline begins with a twisted, growling resound. Glitch effects pulse with glitch effects pulse rhythmically resembling dead. Glitch effects pulse rhythmically resembling dead. Crescendo the grunts burst and abrupt silence. Rolling neurophone and bases to the tap. Return with force, complex drums that digital with force. Complex drums does erratic. Glitch effects dominate sound. Glitch effects pulse rhythmically makes. Resembling data package burst and abrupt silence. Elements filter out into fading static and ambient noise. Final whispered phrase. Data force terminated. Ends in quiet digital echoes. 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 Little echoes. Glitch effects cut through with jagged precision. Glitch fills and rhythmic distortions. It has a fractured vibe. Atmospheres has navigated through a cane of doors. Trick more convergent tension lectures. Glitch fills and rhythmic distortions. It has a fractured vibe. Atmosphere tense like navigating through a chaotic digital rift. Beats flows and fragments into glitchy textures. Ambient paths swell with metallic resonance. Vocal samples distorted and stretched. Glitch fills and rhythmic distortions. It has the fractured vibe. Bassline returns heavier and more distorted. Drum patterns become more complex and syncopated. Symphonies warped and aggressive. Glitch effects cascade with stutter fills and bit crush loops. Energy intensifies, simulating the collapse of the digital rift. Bassline returns heavier and more distorted. Excellent voice rhythmic sweeps. Buckling with codes and echo. Long movement voice glitches. Her voice seamless engaged. The scheme is the weapon visit. Good feels and bit crush loops. Energy intensifies, simulating the collapse. Digital rift. Original rift. Noise lines of rise of cluster. Glitch effects cascade with stutter fills and bit crush loops. Energy intensifies, simulating the collapse of the digital rift. Digital rift. Digital.
Low on this sent drones with crackling static, glitchy digital blips and corrupted files loading. Rolling whispers echo. Data forge. Breach initiated. Subtle, distant, metallic clicks create tension. Tight syncopated percussion enters sharp hi-hats and rattling snares. Baseline puts to growling grease sound. Glitching effects pulse rhythmically, resembling data package shattering. Rising synth sweeps and filter noise fills villages with measure. Modulation. From pattern sharp and intricate, trying to track forward. Same stats, cut through attack and precision. Glitch fills and rhythmic distortions enhance the electric vibe. Atmosphere tense, like navigating through a chaotic digital rift. Beat flows and fragments into glitchy textures, subtly a bad soul with metallic resonance. Song falls, samples of distorted and stretched. Grants of data, build visuals reversed into rattling noise. Baseline returns heavier and more distorted. Drum patterns become more complex and syncopated. Synth leads warmth and aggressive. Glitch effects cascade with stutter fills and big crush. Sound intensifies, simulating the collapse of the digital rifts. Light, syncopated the collapse of the digital rifts. Glitch noise lasers rise and pitch sweeps. Smash rush rhythmic, they still stumble and pick the dapper curve and it's down to glitch effects. Close to the return, like tail packs and will data package shattering. Full burst on bases in attack like total force. Complex strong fills around the glitch effects dominate. Synth leads, slice sharply through the mix. Ends with a dramatic glitch burst in abrupt silence. Owens. Garbage fills around defeating static and ambient noise. Final word phrase. Dirty. It's the quiet digital echoes. Innocent quiet digital echoes. Digital echoes. Precision, glitch fills and rhythmic distortions enhance the function line. Battlefield tests like navigating through chaotic digital rifts. It flows, turns into glitchy textures, curly and impactful and metallic resonance. One fleets warped and aggressive. Glitch effects cascade with stutter stills and big crush. Better crucifies, sending a collapse of the digital rift. Baseline returns heavier and more distorted. Drum patterns become more complex and syncopated. Synth leads warped and aggressive. Filters are bent corrupt. Bit crushed, bit coats. Energy intensifies, simulating the collapse of the digital rift. Baseline returns, rise and pitch sweeps. Sparse rhythmic hits filtered and echoed. Robotic voice glitches, reflex sequence engaged. Dose tension towards final climax. Full neurophone bass and synth attack return with force. Complex drum fills and rapid glitch effects dominate. Synth leads slice sharply. Distorting tempo short out to drop pitch lockdown. Bass slowly filters in like a storm breaching the grid. Kick snare build starts with music. Losing this nicely, accumulating a capacitor overload. Increasing buzz tone grows louder until it clips. Crushing and top dolls drop 9 to 100 react. Transition is not just a static. Like metal slams, like metal slams. Electrical stab pulse and rhythm mixing.
Mechanical ambience, distant alarm sirens. Distorted radio chatter cuts in and out. Slow metallic pulses rise like a charging reactor. Pulsing pulses mimic electrical shortouts. Robotic female voice. Hidden voltage lockdown. It slowly filters in like a storm reaching the grid. Snare build starts with metallic hits. Rising pitch bends in simulating a capacitor overload. Increasing buzz, tone grows louder until it clicks. So crushing goes drop. 900 BPM creates burnout, friction, and distortion and static. Industrial hits, heavy reverb snares like metal slams. Electrical saps pulse and rhythmic sync. Dismodulate wildly like a stable current flow. All drops of the deep subdrone. Faint audio overreactor powering down vocoder and whisper signal dead. Frequency collapse. Sparse lost glitch taps into space. Re-entering fills this drop with heavier bass. Saturation. Delay. High pitch whine like a feedback loop. Glitch breaks and stop. Time effects. Simulate system lag. Snare layer with metallic crash bursts. The mass bubbles detuned for aggressive swing. Tempo slow, slightly low pass filter on all elements. Sound of flickering fluorescent lights. Industrial synth line plays like corrupted Morse code. All coded line. Collapse, complete transmission failed. Everything brain slams back at full intensity. Place it pierced through like an electric saw. Stereo speed up and glitch out every 4 bars. Scintillate tails forth into digital noise. It's with sudden power cut silence. Alarm and white noise fade. Final voltage arc sizzles. Cuts off no resolution, just silence and decay.
Soft pads, weaving gentle shimmering textures. Reverse piano notes drip like water droplets falling through space. Light glitch taps intermittently appear like cracks in reality. Whispered vocal fragments echo faintly. Fracture, break, drift. Synth harp arpeggios emerge delicate but fractured with subtle pitch bends. Slow hi-hats and soft shakers add a rhythmic heartbeat. Bassline is warm but slightly wobbling, like shifting ground. Glitch effects like digital static sparkles intermittently. Vocal chops modulating rhythm. Fragment, drift. Main melody hits with lush feature bass synths layered with airy pads. Bass is deep but smooth sidechain for breathing effect. Glitch textures ripple underneath, scattered like shards. Caution is soft with crisp snares and gentle claps. Reverse sweeps and sparkling delays create ethereal feel. Music slows and filters down to minimal elements. Ambient pads stretch and bend with heavy reverb. Vocal fragments stretch and reverse, creating ghostly echoes. Distant synth bell rings softly, like a signal through the haze. Hell. Melody returns with additional layers of shimmering synths. Bassline gains subtle distortion and warmth. Glitch effects are more rhythmic, weaving tightly with percussion. Percussion slightly more pronounced, but still soft and airy. Leads modulate dynamically, creating tension and release. Elements dissolve into fragmented noise and distant echoes. Pads fade into swirling static and pitch-shifted vocal chops. Sparse or glitchy percussion taps like distant raindrop. Full lush synths return with rich harmonies. Italy, run, gently pulsing with the beat. Lightning and dancing with the beat. Moving smooth, lightning, texture and motion. Leads rise to gentle crescendo, then slowly fade. All elements gradually filter down to soft pads and echoes. Vocal whispers fade away. Fragmented, reality, complete. Ends with distant digital chimes and soft static. Soft pads weave in gentle shimmering textures. Reverse piano notes drip like water droplets falling through space. Light glitch taps intermittently appear like cracks in reality. Whispered vocal fragments echo faintly. Fracture, break, drift. Center more chaos emerged, delicate but fractured with subtle pitch bends. Slow hi-hats and soft shakers at a rhythmic heartbeat. Baseline is warm and slightly wobbling like shifting ground. Glitch effects like digital static sparkles intermittently. Vocal chops modulate rhythm. Fragment. Melody hits with lush future bass synths layered with airy pads. Bass is deep but smooth, side change for breathing effect. Glitch textures ripple underneath, scattered like shards. Cushion is soft with crisp snares and gentle claps. Never sleeps and sparkle delays create an ethereal feel. Music slows and filters down to minimal elements. Ambient paths stretch and bend with heavy reverb. Vocal fragments stretch and reverse, creating ghostly echoes. A distant synth bell rings softly like a signal through the haze. Melody returns with additional layers of shimmering synths. Bassline gains subtle distortion and warmth. Glitch effects are more rhythmic, weaving tightly with percussion. Percussion slightly more pronounced but still soft and airy. Leads modulate dynamically, creating tension and release. Elements dissolve into fragmented noise and distant echoes. Pads fade into swirling static and pitch-shifted vocal. Sparse glitchy percussion taps like distant raindrop. Full lush synths return with rich harmonies. Bass is deep and full, gently pulsing with the beat. Percussion builds slightly in intensity but remains smooth. Glitch textures sparkle brightly, adding shimmer and motion. Leads rise to gentle crescendo, then slowly fade. All elements gradually filtered down to soft pads and echoes. Vocal whispers fade away. Fragmented, reality complete. Ends with distant digital chimes and soft static. Complete. Glitch textures ripple underneath, scattered like shards. Percussion is soft, with crisp snares and gentle claps. First sweeps and sparkle and delays, creating the fearful feel. We'll see them drums layered with eerie digital whispers, flickering glitches from robotic voice snippets.
Overdrive initiated.
Static crackles and light white noise create tension.
That tight, punching percussion will take a bit hi-hats and claps.
Synth bells that rise in pitch and speed, evoking a steam dance.
Stream baseline starts low and grows.
Explodes with complex rhythms and syncopation. Leads and slice of rhythmically with heavy distortion. Crash and glitch and mix and stain and multiply, creating a chaotic soundscape. Ends with a dramatic glitch, crash and sudden silence. Elements slowly dissolve with echoing digital fragments like holographic whisper, clear, offline. Answers soft, static, and fading synth paths. Glitchy fills and rapid fire stutters accentuate the chaos. Atmosphere feels such like racing through a digital nightmare. Beat drops to minimal, with eerie pads and swirling echoes distant. Robotic voices glitch and repeat phrases. Phantom system, breed, Fats and over with fonting delayed effects. Ambient noises mimic flickering signals and corrupted data. Beat drops to minimal, eerie pads and swirling echoes with distinct robotic voices glitch and repeat phrases. Phantom system breaks this run with hot delay effects. Ambient noises mimic flickering signals and corrupted data. The energy peaks return way past swirling complexity. Drum fills become more aggressive and layered. System blur with haunting delayed effects. Ambient noises mimic flickering signals and corrupted data. Pulsing central fire with irrepeatable whispers, flickering glitches and robotic voice abyss. Grid, overdrive is initiated. Soft night crackles and lightweight night noise create tension. Bright, punch of percussion with syncopated hi-hats and claps. Sync flow sound rising, pitch to speed, evoking a speeding data stream. Baseline starts low and grows to distortion and presence. Rising filter sweeps and subtle glitch effects build anticipation. Electro bass with distorted growls cutting through the mix. Driving synth leads pulse aggressively with sharp modulation. Fast-paced drum patterns combining breakbeats and steady kicks. Glitchy fills and rapid fire stutters accentuate the chaos. Atmosphere feels urgent like racing through a digital nightmare. Beat drops to minimal with eerie paths and swirling echoes. Distant robotic voices glitching repeat phrases. Phantom system breach. With haunting delay effects. Ambient noises mimic flickering signals and corrupted data. Bass and synths return with greater intensity and complexity. Drum fills become more aggressive and layered. Synth leads weave through the mix with rapid modulation and pitch bends. Effects include slicing filters, echoing delays and distortion bursts. The energy peaks with a sense of controlled chaos. Noise washes over the track interspersed with stuttered beats. Synth textures become fragmented and echo into space. Vocals limits warp and repeat. All synths include slicing filters, echoing delays and distortion bursts. All four spaces in hostile return. Percussion explodes with complex rhythms and syncopation. Links and slice aggressively with heavy distortion. Glitch effects cascade and multiply, creating a chaotic soundscape. Ends with a dramatic glitch, crash and sudden silence. Elements slowly dissolve into echoing digital fragments. Final robotic whisper, grid offline. Offline, bends with soft static and fading synth paths.
Sharp digital click highs and jittery glitches pulse rhythmically. Cold synth stabs flicker intermittently like broken glass shards. Subtle atmospheric paths underpinned with tension-building drones. Robotic voice whispers. Injection sequence started. Aggressive synth arpeggios begin jittery and sharp. Rapid hi-hats and glitch percussion layered in with precision. They start to rumble low, builder anticipation. Rising white noise sweeps and pitch bends and swirls. Fleet, spike, inject. Heavy mid-bass punches with aggressive distortion. Leads and slice sharply with harsh tuned waveforms. Complex drum patterns with syncopated kicks and snares. Effects explode between phrases like data shards scattering. Atmosphere feels urgent and chaotic. Beat pulls back to sparse glitch percussion. Snatch shimmer with metallic resonance. Reverse vocal chops and echo. Ambient noise layers add a tense mechanical hum. Return of the heavy bass with more intensity and distortion. Synth leads grow sharper and more aggressive. Drum fills become more complex and fragmented. With bursts and bit crush effects saturate the mix. Energy peaks with chaotic fracturing rhythms. Glitch textures ripple and crackle. Add swell with icy resonance. Vocal sample, injection complete. Tension builds with reverse sweep. Soul, power bass and synth layers return with crushing force. Patterns complex and driving. Light synths crushing force. Drummer moments explode with glitch fragments and cascading effects. Elements dissolve into fading glitch noise and soft pads. Whispered voice and bleeds. Ends with the digital fade out and silence. Kicks and snares, effects explode between phrases like data shards scattering. Atmosphere feels urgent and chaotic. Beat pulls back to sparse glitch percussion. Synth pads shimmer with metallic resonance. Synth pads shimmer with kicks and snares. Glitch effects explode with bass returns urgent and chaotic. Beat pulls back to sparse glitch percussion. Beat pulls back shimmer with metallic resonance. Reverse vocal chops echo. Shatter bite ambient noise layers and a tense mechanical hum. Return of the heavy bass with more intensity and distortion. Synth leads grow sharper and more aggressive. Drum fills become more complex and fragmented. Let's burst and big crush effects saturate the mix. Energy peaks with chaotic fracturing rhythms. Return of the heavy bass with more intensity and distortion. Synth leads grow sharper and more aggressive. Drum fills become more complex and fragmented. Glitch bursts and big crush effects saturate the mix. Energy peaks with chaotic fracturing rhythms. Slow glitch textures ripple and crackle. Bad swell with icy resonance. Vocal sample, injection complete. Tension builds with reversed sweeps. Full-powered bass and synth layers return with crushing force. Drum patterns complex and driving. Lead synths.
Sharp digital clicks and jittery glitches pulse rhythmically. Cold synth stabs flicker intermittently like broken glass shards. Subtle atmospheric paths underpinned with tension-building drones. Robotic voice whispers.
Injection sequence started.
Injection sequence started. Jittery and sharp. Rapid hi-hats and push percussion layering with precision. They start to rumble low, build in anticipation. Rising white noise sweeps and pitch bends. Smells vocal bite, spike, inject. Heavy mid-bass punches with aggressive distortion. Leads and slice sharply with harsh tuned waveforms. Complex drum patterns with syncopated kicks and snares. Glitch effects explode between phrases like data shards scattering. Atmosphere feels urgent and chaotic. Beat pulls back to sparse glitch percussion. Synth patch shimmer with metallic resonance. Reverse vocal chops echo. Beat noise layers add a different hum.
bars with more intensity and distortion. Spin to each core sharper and more aggressive. Drum fills become more complex and fragmented, which goes into reverse sweeps. Talk about basses and players, whiffers and players return with crushing force. Throw power bass and synth players return with crushing force. From patterns complex and grinding, leads to scream with intense modular pushing force. Proto moments explode with glitch fragments and cascading effects. Numbness dissolved into fading glitch noise and soft paths. Whispered voice, drift, digital fade out in silence. Glitch percussion layering with precision. Bass starts to rumble low, build an anticipation. Rising white noise swings and pitch bends. Swells, slow blue bite, spike. Injects. Strangers charts scattering. Elements over the vapors, noise is off paths. Whispered voice, into the fading glitch noise and soft paths. Whispered voice, infinitely. And hydraulic hiss effects. So synth video mimics core energy building. Robotic voice overlay.
Initiating chakra protocol. Charging.
Snare rolls infused with electric zap effects. Lead melody glitches and flickers in and out. Sub-bass rumble swells like overloaded turbines. Digital rises climb in tone fused with electric stutters. 3, 2, 1. Bassline slams in with distorted robotic ground. Syncopated kick and snare crush through glitchy mid-range layers. Sharp synth leaves scream like energy bursts. Bass modulation flicker like surging electricity. Glitch fills and rewinds used every 8 bars. Ribbon power down effects sweep through stereo field. Filtered pads pulse like dying circuitry. Slow tempo glitch hop section sits dripping with bit crush. Robotic whisper, shock core, critical stabilizing power level. Charging. Snace returns with harder edge and new rhythmic variation. Triple layered rolls with metallic ring modulation. Kick is more punchy, snare layered with spark effects. Oscillator leads modulated pitch like power arcing mid-section. Glitch breakdown last 4 bars. People stutters with fake outs. Down pitch synth drones and gobble vocoder clips. Data burst effects fire left right in stereo field. Robotic voice overloaded reactors offline. Growing subfloor, speed ramps and high bars. Tempo feels like meltdown, distorted rush and flooded risers and white noise bursts throughout. Ends on above dropped, like a power cut. Hate clicking, reactor beats trying to restart. Still on phase, final distorted vocals in a terminated shock or neutralized. Ends with sub-bass pulse fading into silence. With some bass pulse fading into silence. Bass modulations flicker like surging electricity. Glitch fizzy. Glitch fills and rewinds yet bars. Rhythmic power down effects with throughout field. Fills and rewinds yet bars. Shock core neutralized. Bass pulse fading into silence. Bass modulations flicker like surging electricity. There's no circumversions, flicker reveals. Glitch fills and rewinds used every 8 bars. Rhythmic power down effects with throughout field filtered bars pulse like dying circuitry. Slow tempo glitch hop section sits dripping with mid-crush. Robotic whisper, shock core, critical stabilizing power levels. Big models, big rifles, same make power down effects sweep through stereo field. Filtered pads pulse like dying circuitry. slow tempo glitch hop section synths dripping with bit crush, robotic whisper shock core critical stabilizing power levels. Bass returns with harder edge and new rhythmic variation, triple layered roots with metallic ring modulation. Kick is more punchy, snare layer with spark effects. Oscillator leads modulated pitch like power arcing. Session glitch breakdown lasts 4 bars, equalizing power levels. BPM stutters with fake outs, down pitch synth drones and gobbled vocoder clips. Data burst effects fire left, right, and stereo field. Robotic voice overloaded, reactors offline. Full energy with layered leads and a growling subfloor. Speed ramps in final bars, tempo feels like meltdown. Distorted risers and white noise bursts. Mechanical hum with ticking reactor cores. Glitch sparks and hydraulic hiss effects. Slow synth arpeggio mimics scored energy building. Robotic voice overlay, mitigating shock core protocol charging. Snare rolls infused with electric sound effects. Lead melody glitches and flickers in and out. Some bass rumbles swells like overloaded turbines. Digital risers climb into infused with electric stutters. Prism overload in 3, 2, 1. Baseline slams in with distorted robotic thrust. Syncopated kick and snare crush the glitching mid-range layers. Sharp synth leads scream like energy bursts. Bass modulations flicker like surging electricity. Glitch fills and rewinds used every 8 bars. Rhythmic power down FS sweep through stereo fields. Filter pads pulse like dying circuitry. Slow tempo glitch hop sections sense driven with the crush. Robotic whisper shock core critical stabilizing power levels. Fused with orange and new rhythmic variation. Triple layer moves with metallic ring modulation. Extra kick is more punchy. Snare layer with spark effects. Oscillator leads modulated pitch. Return of full energy with layered leads and a growling subfloor. Speed ramps and final bars. Tempo feels like meltdown. The distorted risers and white noise bursts throughout. Digital bars stop like a power cut. No riser white noise bursts throughout. Risers and white noise bursts throughout. Chop out, power cuts. Fading beam reactor beeps trying to restart. Single arm phase final starter calls. Digitalizer shock or neutralized. Input bass pulse fading and power cuts. Fade clicking reactor beeps trying to restart. Single arm phase final destroyed vocal. Some committed shock or neutralized. Catching sub bass pulse fading neutralized. Some bass pulse fading into silence. And rewinds used every 8 hours. Rhythmic power down FS sweep through stereo fields. Filtered past pulse like dying circuitry. Full tempo glitch hop sections. Electric synths tripping with bit crush. Liquid Russian synths dripping with bit crush. Bass modulations flicker like surging electricity. Electricity. Present rewind to complex. Field through field. More punchy snare layer with spark effects. Layered with spark. Whisper stabilizing power levels. Under edge and new rhythmic variation. Layered moves metallic ring modulation. Modulated pitch like power arc. Mid-section glitch breakdown lasts 4 bars. EDM stutters with fake outs. Down pitch, synth drones and garbled vocoder clips. Data burst effects fire left, right, stereo field, real field, and P cascade initiated reactors offline. Done with full energy with layered leads and a growling subfloor. Speed ramps and final bars. Tempo feels like meltdown. Distorted risers and white noise burst throughout. Power cut, like a power cut.
electric ladder. Snare rolls pick up tension with gated reverb. Sweeping pad textures swirl around rising melodic fragments. Bassline pulses suddenly under the mix with LFO sweeps. Countdown voice glitching in 3, 2, 1. Full analog synth lead blast simulated with octave chords. Bassline growls and sidechain patterns. Drum room hits tight, punchy snares, vintage toms and gated kicks. Like melody clocks with triumphant bends. Every city style laser hits. Returns more intense, hi-hats now double tempo. Layered synth stack, mainly chorus plugs power. Overloads think up pitch blanket like a 16-bit meltdown. Robotic system, maximum power. Key changes down a semitone. Pads disintegrate into white noise. Delay feedback spirals. Arc glitches and folds inward. Robo voice fading, data corrupt. Key changes down a semitone. Pad disintegrate into white noise. Delay feedback spirals. Arc glitches and folds inward. Robo voice fading, data corrupt. Drum melody returns full force with added harmonic leads. Bassline distorted with bass flanger effects. Gated snare and power tom fills. Circumventing 8-bit explosions. Rewind fast forward smashes. Final melody outro modulates up a step and resolves into falls in euphoria. Shutdown sequence. Solely to tune that dissolve. Robotic vocal. Static fades. And single cassette click.